With a wealth of expertise and experience achieved through hands-on and leadership positions in the insurance industry, particularly with Liberty Mutual's Group Benefits Division, Stephen Young is an authority on financial security and strategies for achieving it. We've asked Steve to talk with us about income protection insurance. Welcome, Steve. We're delighted to have you. So here's your first question. Can you explain income protection insurance to us in a nutshell?
Thank you, Dr. Martin. Income protection insurance is actually the term the trust uses to describe long-term disability insurance, because that's what the insurance coverage actually does. It keeps your income coming in when you become disabled due to illness or injury, and you can no longer work during a given period. It keeps the income coming in until you can return to work. Think about it. When most people think of their assets, their homes, cars, and so on, they forget one of their most important assets, their job, and the income it produces in order for them to protect their loved ones and maintain their standard of living.
So people need to protect their ability to earn an income. Do they really need insurance?
Well, it's a common myth that someone will take care of you if you're injured or become ill. The government, your dependents, or friends. Or you think you have sufficient funds to fully support you and your family for a long stretch during your recovery. Let's be clear about the realities. Actually, Social Security disability benefits are not that easy to obtain. To qualify, you often need to be disabled to the extent that you won't be expected to ever return to the workforce. The Social Security benefits you receive likely won't come close to matching your current income. For example, around 70% of applicants are initially denied Social Security disability benefits. Of those that do eventually qualify, let's say their annual income is $75,000 a year, they might only receive around 40% of their income from the government during their period of disability. So even if you have a substantial amount of cash in reserve, why would you want to burn through your savings or retirement funds and have to start over?
Do that many people become disabled in their careers?
Yes, they do, but few people think they ever will, at least until they do. Let's look at a few statistics. The Social Security Administration estimates that 1 in 4 20-year-olds will become disabled or unable to work before they reach the age of 67. Over 37 million Americans are classified as disabled, about 12% of the total population. More than 50% of those disabled Americans are in their working years, from 18 to 64. In 2012, more than 650,000 disabled workers received more than $9 billion in long-term disability payments through their employer-sponsored group disability income protection programs.
So the odds of a psychologist or mental health professional becoming disabled during his or her career are roughly 1 in 4?
That's what the data tells us. And the data also tells us that fewer than 1 in 4 Americans have enough money in savings to cover at least 6 months of expenses.
Steve, are some people more vulnerable?
Obviously, those who are self-employed or working part-time with no protection in place might have more trouble staying afloat during their disability. Those who are insured through an employer's plan should also determine whether they have adequate coverage to meet changing life events. Again, people need to understand that their ability to work is one of their key assets.
How can psychologists ensure that they can stay afloat?
You can save a huge amount of money and burn through that, or you can purchase disability insurance, which is reasonably affordable and designed to keep you through the difficult times until you can return to doing what you do best in earning a living. You purchase insurance for your house, your car, other property, and insure the liability that comes with those assets. Why would you not insure your income?
Can you explain how that works?
There are a variety of disability plans out there, but most offer very similar benefits. Let's start with an obvious question. How much of an insurance benefit do you need? Most income protection plans cover from 50 to 70% of your current income, so you can have some choice with the amount of coverage. And obviously, the more you can afford, the better. Remember that if you pay the insurance premium with after-tax dollars, the benefits you receive while disabled are generally not subject to federal income tax. Thus, your benefits are actually closer to your pre-disability earnings.
Is there a benefit waiting period? That is, how long do you have to wait before coverage kicks in?
Income protection policies do have waiting periods, typically 28 days, 90 days, or 180 days. As you would expect, the shorter the waiting period, the higher the insurance premium. So you should ask, how much cash do I have in reserves, and how long could I wait until the disability cash benefit starts coming in? The most commonly selected waiting period, from my experience, is often 90 days.
Steve, do different policies have different definitions of disability?
Yes, and this is a vitally important distinction because policies differ widely as to how they define when a disability qualifies and benefits become payable. Many policies, including the majority of employer-provided plans, require you to be disabled to the extent that you can't perform the duties of your own occupation for a fixed period, such as 1 or 2 years. After that, the definition may change to your inability to perform the duties of any occupation. This is commonly referred to as an own occupation, any occupation definition. You should strongly consider purchasing a policy that doesn't limit or further restrict the definition after some arbitrary period of time. Look for policies that simply define disability as the inability to perform the duties of your occupation for the entire period of disability. It's important to note that the trust income protection insurance policy has the preferred your own occupation definition through the entire period of disability, regardless of duration.
Will the my own occupation definition cost more?
The premium will be slightly higher, but is being subject to a broader definition of work worth the small savings? Would you want to work in a job you're not trained to do and don't enjoy simply because you're able? Remember, any insurance you buy is a personal risk-reward analysis. Anytime you choose not to insure something, you're taking on some of the risk. And we know that insurance vastly reduces that risk.
Steve, can you give an example related to disability?
Sure. Let's say you become permanently disabled at age 48 and your prospect of returning to work is uncertain. You may forfeit up to 17 years or more of earnings. With income protection insurance, and let's say you receive a monthly benefit of $6,000, you could potentially receive more than $1 million by age 65.
What are the factors that determine your insurance premium?
Disability premium rates will vary widely depending on what features you choose, but rates generally depend on the following. As I mentioned, the period you choose to wait before benefits are payable, the amount of benefit you choose to receive per month, and the maximum period you choose to receive benefits. Policies usually offer maximum periods of 5, 10, or to age 65 in some cases.
What is important to know about applying for coverage?
When you apply for disability insurance, your medical history will be requested and evaluated to determine if you are insurable. You may need to have a physical examination.
Do you have any advice about providing a medical history?
Yes. For one, always be truthful in your responses to questions on the application, because any misinformation could potentially void your policy in the event of a claim down the road. And secondly, don't procrastinate. The longer we live, the more medical baggage we tend to accumulate. So obtaining coverage earlier in our work lives when we are healthy increases the odds that we will be approved and underwritten. It's part of a sound financial plan. Unfortunately, I've seen too many instances of psychologists waiting too long before applying for disability coverage, and they are simply not insurable.
Can you think of a good disability policy?
Of course. The Trust Income Protection Policy, and I'll tell you why. It's a group policy which typically offers lower rates for the same coverage than many individual policies. And this is important. The premium rate is based solely on the favorable claims experience of only psychologists going back to the program's inception in 1956. And remember, the trust group policy uses the your own occupation definition throughout the period of disability. Bottom line is that as a psychologist or mental health professional, you have the unique opportunity to have available a first-class disability plan designed by your peers with very competitive rates.
Do you have any further points of interest?
Perhaps one more statistic about someone's chance of becoming disabled. A typical female, say age 35, 5 feet 4 inches tall, weighing 125 pounds, a non-smoker who works mostly at an office job with some outdoor physical activity and who leads a generally healthy lifestyle, has the following risks. A 24% chance of becoming disabled for 3 months or longer during her working career. A 38% chance that that disability would last 5 years or longer, and with the average disability for someone like her lasting more than 6 years. A second example, a typical male, age 35, 5 feet 10 inches high, 170 pounds, also a non-smoker, who works at an office job with some outdoor physical activity and who leads a healthy lifestyle, has the following risks. A 21% chance of becoming disabled for 3 months or longer during his working career. A 38% chance that that disability would last 5 years or longer, with the average disability for someone like him lasting more than 6 years.
Certainly some things to consider, Steve. Thanks as always for your expertise.
My pleasure. If you would like more detailed information, you can peruse several disability plan choices, use the quick calculator to estimate your coverage and premium, and see what features are included in each plan right here on this website, trustinsurance.com.